What's up, y'all? Back at it again. We got a build breakdown that we started to introduce you to probably about 2 years ago, and we're finally debuting it. Car's been done for a minute, but it's been posted up. All right, this is the 1991 Chevy Camaro. And yes, this thing is far from stock. So we're gonna hit it from the exterior right now and let you see what it got. So it has a full Z28 kit on this. Custom track spec hood vents, which we'll get to why the hood vents are there once we pop the hood. Forged Star wheels, everybody's been asking. These are 18 by 10, and this is a square setup on all four corners, running 315s on all four corners. Behind the wheels, we have Gen 1 CTSV calipers. These are Brembo calipers up front, and same thing in the rear with slotted rotors. As you can see, the ride height is adjusted, thankful to UMI suspension. We are running their full suspension, which is cross member, sway bars, control arms, torque arm, strut top hats, weight jacks in the back, and then we're running Coney shocks on all four corners, and this thing handles like it's on rails. Over to the rear, it's just to kind of pay homage to all these Camaros. We're running the dual tips out the rear, straight on the bumper, and this is a Flowmaster exhaust. We'll get to that later, so you can see and hear how it sounds. Josh, hit him with that little heavenly music. On the engine bay. Fuck, homie?
Grease hanging on the back of my head.
What's up? No, you ain't got no grease, homie.
Okay.
Why, where you going?
I'm leaving. I'm gonna lock the front door. Finally got that bearing changed. What a nightmare that was.
Hey, you clean. You're good to go.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, Pete.
Take care.
All right, have a good one. Oh, Pete, come here. Pete, come back. I can't do you like that. Come here. Come here. This is how we talk about erase the color lines. All right, look at this shit.
Shit.
I'm over here cleaning this fool's head. Look at this shit. Look at how I do this ever so gently.
Ever so gently?
Yeah, you're good now. You're good.
I got your good.
Good, Pete. All right.
All right, later, Pete.
I swear to God, I can't fucking make this shit up. Back to the fucking build breakdown, y'all. All right, we are running a Champion radiator as we do with all of our builds to keep this thing cool because this car was built for a track vehicle. We have two puller fans, one pusher fan up front. Then back over here, we have the coolant overflow tank. These are the UMI top hats that I was explaining to you earlier. We're running long tube headers on this with a CAT system, just so you know. No, there's no AC on this, but it is set up for it. But the way we built this car, pretty much there was no need for it. Willwood, master cylinder, proportioning valve, and we actually did all custom stainless lines from the master cylinder to all four corners and over the rear end. The rear end, now that I'm thinking about it, is a 373 with posi. This is still the stock rear end. We were thinking about upgrading it, but at the time didn't realize which rear end the customer wanted to do, so we stuck with the stock one and just upgraded the gearing. So a lot of work went into the engine bay of this vehicle. Even though it looks like it's all just black, we body worked all the aprons, the frame rails, the full firewall, and everything is smoothed over and painted in a nice high gloss black. Just because obviously the focal point of this vehicle, even though the exterior is like a 6 out of 10, is the engine bay. So when you pop this engine bay, you can see all the exact details of this. It's running a full PSI wiring harness, a stock ECU. It is running a McLeod Stage 2 clutch. I think I talked about this, but the full exhaust is all 3-inch. From the headers back, crossover in 01 into the dual outlet with a Flowmaster muffler. Shout out to Drive Shaft Pro as always for their one-piece 3.5-inch drive shaft. So for the details for the motor, as I explained, this is a full blueprinted 6.0 stroker. As far as all the components, those that are asking, this is a Holley high ram intake manifold. We are running Holley valve covers, Holley coil packs as well, and their spark plugs. Serpentine system is a CVS system. All the pulleys are all CVF as well. Holley oil pan, and then Holley fuel rails. As much of the Holley components as we could on this is what we're running. As you see back on the firewall, that's the oil catch can. And we pretty much tried to hardline as much as we could in this engine bay because we wanted to make sure that when you pop the hood, there was the least amount of rubber components as possible. So it's either stainless or aluminum. Champion radiator, custom intake as you can see. And this is the coolant overflow was already made. And as you see on the other side is the power steering reservoir. For those asking how we were able to squeeze the 315s on the front of this, we had to notch the inner wheel wells to kind of get some clearance, and there's still some issues that we got to dial in. We want to convert this car over to a rack and pinion, but right now it's still the factory gearbox that we had sent out and rebuilt. So it still has a pitman arm, idler arm, and all the steering linkages. Handles phenomenal, as you'll see in some of these videos. But so with the about 1/2 inch wheel adapters, we have no clearance issues at all as far as completely locking the steering wheel. Anybody that knows these Camaros, the option that everyone wanted back in the day was the T-top option, and that's what this has, all right? This car is running everything on the inside. The customer bought these Corbo seats, stock door panels. It still needs some love on the inside, but this was a track car. So this car was originally automatic. We got a Hamlin Motorsports T56 transmission in here. Stock steering column, Momo steering wheel. Kind of modified the dash slightly, and as you can see, why? We are running the Holley EFI Terminator unit on this. Now, as Josh will show you, as we lift the vehicle up from the rear end forward, all UMI trailing arms, the rear torque arm. As you can see, they're adjustable way jacks, and the Koni rear shocks, matching the front suspension as well, which are Koni shocks as well. Towards the middle of the car, you can see we are running the UMI subframe connectors, which have been welded to the chassis right before the rear wheels and the front wheels. So when I say this car handles like it's on rails, it most definitely does. I know I'm forgetting some of the things, but for those that are asking as far as where's the battery relocated, we relocated the battery to the rear section, right in this passenger side quarter panel, as well as the fuse box, which is right there, and all the relays for the fans and the fuel system. We're running a full PSI wiring harness with a factory GM computer on this detailed build. Roughly, to have a car built like this, engine, transmission, suspension, cross member, ECU, gauges, brakes, wheels, tires, about 50, 60 grand for this. There was some like minimal paint work to this, obviously, as far as the hood, bumper, but this stuff all came in this way, and we just had to actually redo the stripes. But to get yourself in here like this with a track car on the streets, active, that's what you're looking at. Appreciate you guys tuning in for this episode. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.